You're on live. We're
Good
live.
morning. It's Friday.
And good afternoon. It's hot.
It
So
is.
it is. You guys have the worst of the hot weather. It's like hundreds by you,
Yeah,
90.
it's heading that way right now. Yeah.
Yeah. We're in the 80s, but all the gardens, we're taking care of our neighbor stuff. So all of that is watered. Everything's been given a drink.
We have
So
no water here. Our lakes are actually disappearing already, and it's only June. We have some grief over that because California is going to be in a bad way this year. The entire West is.
Wow.
Washington, Oregon, California, we're not in a good space.
No. You know, it's and you're right. People have grief over our changing planet.
Yeah.
And you know,
and how it impacts people. Like if we've got no snowpack, that means that the river runners and who spend their summers making money doing rafting trips don't have trips, and our lake communities don't have visitors. And good morning, Paul. It's nice to see you.
Hey.
Paul and Glasha is here.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Yeah.
Hi.
So we are in a bad spot. Oh, I have to pick up somebody. He heard me say puppy? Deb, and he's
hello,
jealous.
Doug.
This is the Fred.
Oh, hi, Fred.
Fred likes the heat because he goes swimming. And Dawn Hartman is here from Vermont. Hey. Ian Fiegelman is here.
Ian, yay!
Yeah.
These are some of my buds.
And Paul is one of mine. And Paul has a dog that he puts pictures out of frequently. So ours kind of like, oh, look, it's our buddy.
It's your buddies. Yeah. And I think Dawn has a puppy or a new dog. Tell us if you do, because I remember your other love fur baby. I really do, Ernie. And so I'm just wondering if you have a new one.
Yeah, so, Paul lost his beloved pup last year, and we all missed him. And then a new one showed up, and everybody's excited about that. So. Fred's just excited he's getting petting today.
Ian married into a fur baby family. Ian has a cat.
Dawn has no new pup yet.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
There are rescues available.
Yes.
Like this one.
So what's going on in your world of loss and grief and carrying on? What's going on with you, Jill?
Well, let's see. I got to be on Good Morning Washington this week to talk about child loss, or children and losses. So that was nice because it's nice to see people talking about it.
Mm-hmm. What's some of your takeaways?
What's some of the takeaways are you let kids grieve at their developmental level, and you don't expect them to be little adults, and you let them go play when you're sad. But you show them that you could be sad and you can cry, because our big role as adults in grief with children is to teach them how to be good grievers as adults. So not to be afraid of services, to participate in them, to do the things that we do as adults, because if we don't learn it as kids, we don't know how to navigate it.
You know, I just once again want to give a shout out to my bonus daughter and her family. Because I made the suggestion when they were going to, they needed to give a send-off to their beloved Kira, and a kitty cat, 15 years old. I said, take the kids with you, ride in the car, have everybody in the car, because that shows them how they can be part of something. During COVID, they couldn't go in, but
our vet allows it.
At the U of I, they do, but at that particular time, she had to go in by herself. And I said, in that way, you're teaching them you're watching someone do this, as well as letting them support you, showing how you can be with others in a healthy way, as a family, or just the friends go with you, just to allow support. You are allowing them to do and be part by supporting, because people don't realize their own role in helping others grieve.
Exactly.
And by
and the community
support,
of saying goodbye.
As a community, being part of a community, navigating everybody's grief that way. And so often, and you know this, right? So often it's like, I don't grieve that way. I don't show emotion.
It's a pet. And why would we? No, it's a member of the family. He or she is a member of the family.
That's right.
My grandma would call that fellowship in grief.
Fellowship. Oh, so would Daryl's mom. Yeah,
she was a minister's wife, but it is a fellowship. It's holding each other up. That I did write a book about pet loss, and I wrote it because our vet asked me to. And this is not a commercial for the book. She asked me to because she said there were too many families that brought their pets in and made the hard decision that it was time to let them go. Sometimes there was treatment available, but it wasn't going to be fair or safe, or it was going to cost a lot of money and still not work. And they would get angry with the vet because, it's cost so much, even though the veterinarian clearly has this clinic you've chosen to use. But more importantly, they would then abandon the pet with the vet to be put to sleep. And it's not fair because those vets, we took Fred in the very first moment we had him. In fact, we got him from her. And he's part of their world. And when it comes his time, 15 years from now, they will have helped raise him essentially. And they're saying goodbye too. Our vet cries when she puts pets to sleep. So she wanted to encourage parents to stay there with their kids, to explain to kids that death happens and that it's not because the vet doesn't care or the parents don't care.
Right.
And that we say goodbye and hold them tight and, remember them and have a little service of some sort. Because lots of vets are very emotionally, they're becoming more fragile because people are being mean to them.
Exactly.
Just like they are to funeral directors and doctors and nurses, and those that they perceive as not being able to fix things seem to be targets sometimes, and we need to knock that stuff off.
I think it's also, whether it's a funeral director or vet or whomever,
hospice,
the person who is going to be losing a fur baby or a person. So I'm going to use that. It could be a winged one, it could be a reptile, whatever. But the bottom line is they've held up being nice in front of everyone else.
Right.
And all of a sudden, all their
all the
emotions get. I confess, when my mom died, that I may have taken a little. I might, the person who was running, and it was a very Jewish funeral home. And I was very specific. I wanted to bury my mom in the clown costume. Move along from that. I can tell that story some other time. He goes, "You can't do that." That hospice, it was a rabbi who was the hospice director, had said to me, I could do that as long as I did a lot more of the ceremony. He would do the Jewish parts. And the funeral guy said, "No, you can't do that." I said, "Call him." I was pissed. Call him. And, I don't usually act that way to anybody in any kind of service industry. Call him. And so then he calls him and the rabbi says, "Yes, I said that." Then in the little tiny obituary for the Sun-Times newspaper in Chicago, or Tribune, it's like this big. I wanted to write, "She was a purveyor of tchotchkes," right? And he goes, "You can't write this." And I said, watch me, you know? And by this time, I'm now really pissed and you have to go coffin shopping. And so my niece, who had just started walking, she's like, I don't know, 10 months, and she's walking along in the funeral room, right? The coffin room. I said, how does this feel, Haben? I picked her up and I put her in a casket.
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, my God. It's illegal to use those after someone's been in them.
Well, it's the showroom. It was the showroom. He just about clutched his chest. And that's, you know, that probably wasn't the smartest or the kindest, but I had it up to here. So I was.
Well, you weren't being heard.
No,
nor
I wasn't being validated or respected because I didn't come up to the Jewish standard. I said, I want 2 easels. He goes, what do you want those for? I go, to put pictures on, and we're going to have balloons, but that's not what happens at a Jewish funeral. I said, that's what's happening at this Jewish funeral. And so it was, hey, I got some good stories out of it. I do feel bad, you know, Mr. Pizer, if you're still listening, I'm sorry. It was a rough time.
It was.
So it was. So that was the story.
And next week we're going to have someone on with you to talk about all things regarding end of life, how to do the planning, what documents people need. It is going to be the be all, do all, and end all, folks, of what's needed to do end of life care properly. Yeah. You will love Debbie Price.
She's amazing. She worked for Health and Human Services. She's written this book, All You Need to Know, or something like that. It's really a great, great book. And if anybody there wants one, put it in the chat and I'll hook you up.
Yeah, so she's great. I had a copy to show, but then I lent it to somebody who needed it at the moment. I'll probably never see it again, and that's okay.
I will bring my copies next week to put up. So do tune in next week. So
and then end of the month, we're going to have everything about hospice.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have some cool guests.
We are.
Yeah. And actually, Jill and I are presenting what we've done for a year now. Yes, it's a year, isn't it? Then we start sometime in June or very close to July. We just said this is needed.
We need to talk about how to do grief and how to keep a sense of humor and all the other things and all the things that are about loss.
Yeah.
That are not all the loss, that are not just death.
No, it's not just about deaths. You know, some moms I know right now are going, my baby just graduated high school.
Right?
Yeah. Think about that.
Of them.
And the dads, some are feeling anxious and a little bit the loss of safety as we open up everything. And they're navigating this different way to be.
Right.
And it's still, and I always say, you do what makes you comfortable. I still wear my mask when I go shopping, when I do XYZ. People are also feeling the loss of, I don't know if it's a loss, but when someone almost bullies you because you have not been vaccinated or you have been vaccinated. And so there's these more anxieties, and it's almost like a loss of self when you compare yourself to someone else, whatever the deal is. But in this particular case, it's vaccinated versus not vaccinated. Some people have some very good reasons why they cannot.
Some historical reasons too for not being completely sure. And what the research right now is showing is, if we can extend grace and some humor to those who are choosing not to, and let them have time to decide and have some discussions, not some beat them over the heads.
That's right.
Then they're more likely to reconsider a decision from not having it to having it.
Right.
So let's use the same kind of things we're using here, which is you discuss it, you feel it out, you hear each other, you have a sense of humor about it, right? Because if we can't have a little bit of a laugh about what kind of 18 months or 14 months we've all had, because boy, have we, right?
It's almost like we're laughing at a funeral because we all felt a little dead.
Right. I just found a meme that I put up last year that said, marked safe from hydrochloroquine injections.
Yes.
Thought, yeah, exactly. Last year was a little nuts. Right?
Absolutely. And, once again, and you and I have talked about this before, but I think it bears stating again, it is really hard to laugh when you're in the moment of that kind of anxiety, that kind of shock, that kind of grief. It's hard to laugh then. Don't expect yourself or anyone else to laugh right there.
But if it's feeling overwhelming, be very, very much in the present and see if you can find some kind of release, some kind of, how do I compare this to, not to make it worse. Yeah, he is. Paul said, yeah, Fred's sleeping. Yes, he is. He's trying to get comfy. How do we allow the natural emotions to come through and to break through some of the anger and the resentment and the sadness and move to that which helps us move into coping and healing?
And sometimes the humor that is released by the person who is grieving is not necessarily funny to a witness, but that griever needs to say something. Whether it was appropriate or not, it released tension for me when a family member came up to me at my mom's funeral and said, we have to stop meeting like this because maybe we had been, and I said, I'm all out of parents. How about, I'm done with these kind of funerals. And they were a little taken aback, but it was a poignant release for me. So you have to also, once again, a little grace. You want to be mad at me for that. You want to think I needed it.
And, I think we can expand that to other kinds of losses. And I'm not minimizing your mom's death because that was just an experience and a half and is still a hole for you. It really is. So it's not a but, it's an and. And we also have those who have other kinds of losses. We have someone in our family who left for grad school, and then it just was not a good fit from the moment they arrived. It was not, the program wasn't ready. They didn't have things together. It was pure chaos. And they made the very hard decision to back out. And that's going to leave, explanations, just like explanations about clown suits. Well, why couldn't you tough it out? Why couldn't you keep them from you could have done something other than the clown suit, and you could have stayed and figured it out. I think we need to leave room for people to make their own decisions.
Absolutely.
And to let them grieve when they have to make a hard decision. All right?
Yes.
We're going to have a guest. You don't know this yet, but we're going to have a guest sometime in probably July, a therapist who experienced a very sudden divorce during the pandemic, where there's very little support. And there are a lot of people who've had divorces during this time. And they've been more isolated than most people during divorce.
Right.
And she finally made the decision to find the humor and to decide that this is her chance. She found that grief card. She threw it down. Her hair is a different color. Her pictures look different. She's changed up her life. And she's recognizing that this was just as big a loss as the death. It was the death of the husband that she thought she knew, basically.
That's right.
So she's going to come in and join with us on that. And I know you've supported a lot of people through divorces, Deb. So I thought that might be a good addition to the show.
Did you just freeze up or did I?
You did. Am I still here?
Oh, it's like both of us were. So I
unstable
was
internet.
That out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that might, because there's a lot of people who watch us and a lot of people who join with us who've been through divorces, who've been through difficult marriages, and have found their way through and then gone, wait a minute, I was grieving. And I think we can bring some of that knowledge to people before that happens.
That, I totally agree. And when people make what looks like sudden changes, when maybe they've been repressed things and they couldn't do it till they were free, whatever that was. Oh, sometimes even when a spouse dies, people say, you got married. You're dating already. What are you doing?
How dare you break those rules?
How dare I know. Let's just point to your book in the background. But not only that, when you go through a divorce and you're dating already, or look at what they did to their hair. Oh, they're wearing too much makeup now. Oh, blah, blah, blah.
What is that outfit?
They pierce their whatever. And I'm like, you don't know what was going on in that marriage.
Right?
Yeah, Paul says, the rules. Exactly.
And there are rules for divorce as well. They're basically the same. Don't make any changes. Don't change yourself.
Don't do this.
Don't date. Right? What if that marriage had been going south for a long time and nobody had said it out loud? And there had been no real connection for years.
For years.
Maybe dating feels like, oh my God, I get to have fun again. I get to find me again. I get to find a new me.
And, it's not always with divorce. People get confused. Let's say you have to put a loved one into long-term care at a fairly early age. Yeah. And because of dementia, because of chronic illness, because of whatever. And you don't know what they've worked out already.
Right.
My friend and I'm going to just throw this out here. It's a little woo-woo, but you don't know what soul contract they had, that this is how their marriage is supposed to be. You don't know what they came in before or after into their marriage. You don't know. So, it's real easy. If I'm going to assume something, like I wrote something to a friend of mine that has really bad asthma. And I said, I'm going to assume the weather had something to do with this. And I put a question mark, like, is this assumption correct? So when you make an assumption, at least make it in the form of a question.
Right.
Don't think it's, if you're going to assume, which is sort of like a bias thing, an internal bias, and you're going to assume something about grief, put it in the form of a question.
Or can I support you? Is there something that around this that I can help you with?
And you don't need to know all the details.
Right.
That's something, in fact, sometimes I go, the less details you give me, the better. Right. Unless I'm a nurse, right? They're going to send me a picture of whatever body part has whatever on it. Let me show you.
Well, I meant to send you a picture this morning.
We're on camera, so I won't say what body part you sent me, so I'm just going to leave it.
Right.
So
if we can be some more supportive and less, the judgy, if we can have some humor about it like we just did.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we can give people grace to make their decisions and to break rules if they choose to, and to follow rules if they choose to, because there's also some pressure that goes along with, you're getting divorced. It's time to have a divorce party. Right?
Exactly, Jane.
Right.
You don't have to give all the details if you don't want to.
Right.
And they want the scoop. And
no matter what it is. How did your dog die? What room did your wife die in? Did he cheat on you? Stop it.
They don't need that. You can get a pretty good sense of things. And, and I have sort of had to learn this along the way because, in the past, I would say, oh, can I have those details? Or, something obviously is missing in this story. And what I have learned to say is, I know I'm not getting the full story, and that's okay. You can say that to that person, or you can say, just take a breath and go, I'm going to support you. Because sometimes you need to, and I learned this energetically before. If you go bleh, to everybody, you're losing a part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you need to keep some of that energy in. I know today is like woo-woo Friday, but you need to keep some of that energy close to you so that you can do the next step. I'm going to give another example. My cousin, 67, had a major cardiac event. She had a heart attack, and they immediately swooped in, blah, 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 put in a stent, better blood flow, and now she's getting used to a cardiac body. And she was so traumatized from, I think I just have asthma, to, and I won't even say everything she said. She did not have energy to explain to people the details or anything.
How sick she was.
Plus she is now sort of in shock. It's a trauma. Mm-hmm. And it's a grief. Your body is not trustworthy anymore. All of a sudden you've had this.
It's letting you down.
Not only is it letting you down, it let you down.
And there's blame too. When people get sick, then the cluck, cluck, cluck.
Yes. People blaming you, not you.
Which means you can laugh at that if you learn to. Right?
And sort of like Jane just said, they want to know the scoop. Well, they want to know the whole, it's all the chickens clucking. They want to know, why did this happen, and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And you know what? You just don't have the energy. So it's okay to say, I need to take a nap now. I'll have to talk to you later. It's like when you have to go to the bathroom. I need to go now. You don't have to tell everybody your business. I'll call you back. Something just came up, or I need to go, or whatever. You don't have to say everything.
When my late wife Casper, my second wife, had Lewy body, that comes with Parkinsonism, which is very much like Parkinson's. So we got involved with the Parkinson's Foundation. And those people, by the way, are freaking amazing. One of the best groups, at least locally and nationally. And they make T-shirts that say, I'm not drunk, I've got Parkies. Right?
Yeah.
When you start stumbling around.
Yeah, you do. And you can't keep your balance.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so you have that sense of humor about it. And then if someone doesn't know what Parkies is, then they have to ask.
That's right. That's right. So, they should make, what's some of the memes they have, the funny stuff about widows, or there's several about cancer. Yeah. And
in fact, I was interviewing with someone the other day, and they said, so are you like the Black Widow? I'm like, yeah, people use that term a lot, but the Black Widow is kind of some kind of superhero, and she's got a super hot body, and I'd be happy to have that body. If someone could arrange that body switch, I'm all in.
Exactly. So someone once said, "What are you the Grim Reaper?" And I said, yes, and instead of the black, because that's not really my style, I have a rainbow wand and I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And so I actually had my illustrator at the time draw me as I was a reflection of death.
Right?
Only, yeah. It's pretty cool. And that's true. I do happy deaths. They're sad, but I don't have to be morose and all these other things. It's just
they're good deaths. My first wife was the day she was dying. She was telling us trivia at 8:00 in the morning, and she was known as the trivia champion. And as she was dying, she was like, I never got to be on one of the trivia shows.
Oh.
And now it's too late. I could have left you with an extra million. I'm like, damn it. Now I got to figure this part out.
Did you play the Jeopardy theme song when she died?
Oh, we should have. Right? We should have. Yeah, we were playing Is, I think, or something like that. Right?
Right.
Like everybody else.
Right. Right.
Yeah. She had a playlist. It was on the bucket list. I had to play the playlist. So we played the playlist.
All right.
My playlist is going to be What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger. And a few others.
Yep.
What's yours going to have on it?
I've gone through a bunch of songs, and one, I want the Blind Boys of Alabama to sing Amazing Grace, but they sing it to the tune of the House of the Rising Sun.
Oh,
yeah, it's really cool. There was they made a movie about Bobby Darin, and he's saying, Off Comes the Makeup. And I can't remember the words offhand, but those two songs. Yeah.
Nice. Paul wants, I want the jingle at the end of the dryer circle.
Dryer cycle. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. We don't have a jingle at the end of a dryer cycle.
We don't have a fancy dryer?
No, ours goes, and I suppose this would be appropriate, Paul. This is how our dryer stops. But bump. People on their tombstones have, Mel Blanc has on on his tombstone. That's all, folks.
Right?
Yeah.
Mine's going to say she finally slowed down.
As I confessed on this show that Daryl and I still want something funny, but I've rethought it. I'm going to talk to him when we go away because a lot of stuff, we really celebrate a lot of religions. And so, he likes that one. He likes that good one. Yes. But I'm bump. Yes, Dawn. And I really like a circle of all of different religious symbols, but one of the religious symbols I want to have are a fake nose and glasses. I think he might go for that if we could put different religions, because I wouldn't mind having Jewish. He could have the cross. We both could have a Buddhist or an Om.
Make sure you leave pictures, because sometimes those people don't have the artwork to do it right.
Oh, yeah, we would do that. Just like my tattoo, I came in with pictures.
Yeah, that's why I have a pissed off sheep on mine. It's supposed to be a poodle, but it's a really pissed off sheep with a bad nose job.
That is so. Jill, this is not the first time you've said this. Why don't you get somebody to re-engrave it while it's there? It doesn't have to be laying flat.
It's a sense of humor. I like it. It can make me laugh when I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a sensitive point. It's a fun point for me.
It's a fun point. Pissed off poodle
sheep combination. Definitely not Fred, because Fred looks peaceful.
Yeah.
He's finally slowed down. He was swimming yesterday for hours.
Oh, and it caught up with him. Look at that boy.
He's wiped out.
Look at that boy.
All right, folks. So next week I won't be here because I will be teaching in Sherman Oaks, but not in Sherman Oaks, online, and doing grief and loss for a group. So you'll have Deb, and they are Trouble and Trouble Incorporated, because they're both parts of AATH, and they will bring that forward for you. And then I'll be back the following week. And the week after that, we will have the Heart of Hospice with us.
That's right. That's right. And then the following week, you're going to probably be on by yourself.
Right.
I think that's what we talked about. Yeah.
And I think that's when we'll probably do divorce. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much fun is that? If anyone has somebody they want on here and they think they can get them for us, we will be happy to have them on. It's nice to mix it up. And yeah, Paul says I would have been in his hood in Sherman Oaks. I know, I thought about it, but it's all online. So yeah, please follow us, find us, share us. We'd love to have you. If you have anything that you want us to say about what this has meant for you, while we're presenting next week for the International Death, Grief, and Bereavement Conference, we'd appreciate having that input. We're putting in our bloopers to show folks that it's okay to have a show that's not always perfect, because God knows we're not. And then let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to share it. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for everyone.
Paul.
I will not see all the rest of you until 2 weeks from now.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for being on.